All right, Celtics 116-103 tonight over the Spurs. I'll be honest with you, and look, I'm not watching Spurs basketball on a nightly basis, and I know they just acquired De'Aaron Fox. And I understand also that Greg Popovich has been out. Is it health? He's had health issues. He's been out for a while. But a part of me, I don't know what their bench is like, if they've got anybody on the bench worth a damn. A part of me doesn't understand how they're a little bit better. Why aren't they a little bit better, the Spurs? And I don't mean, contending for a finals berth. I just mean not over. Why aren't they over 500? Western Conference is good. Okay. But, I mean, you got Wembayama, who's in his, second year. It's not like he's some totally great. He's played NBA basketball. You got the wily veteran Chris Paul. You have De'Aaron Fox now. I know it's new. Devin Vassell. And you got this the favorite for Rookie of the Year in Stephon Castle to go with seasoned veteran and NBA champion Harrison Barnes. Why aren't they a little bit better? Why aren't they at least above 500? That feels like a solid roster to me. And again, I understand that they just, kind of picked up De'Aaron Fox. It's new. But it feels like that's a team that should be at least above 500 to end the season. And you build off of that if you're the San Antonio Spurs. But, hey, that's just a quick Spurs thought. I've never been concerned with the Celtics malaise, with their struggles, with whatever you want to call it. I guess some of the health issues that Drew Holiday has experienced doesn't make me feel good. I guess I'll put it that way. I'm not going to say I'm concerned on Valentine's Day that he's not going to be ready for a significant playoff run or something like that, something that's 3-4 months away. He really has 4 months before the conference finals. 4 months. 3 months. Not 4. My bad. Still a long time. March, April, May. Conference finals start probably mid-May. Early to, May. All right, probably 3 months from tonight, roughly. The conference finals will start. I mean, it just feels like this is a situation where what teams in the NBA have the formula to beat the Celtics? It feels like a half a team. That's what it feels like to me. Now, it'll be interesting to see who comes out of the West. I'm fascinated by the West, and if the Celtics were in the West, it might be a little bit different. But they can't play every team out of the West in the playoffs because only one team comes out, and right now the favorite for that is the Oklahoma City Thunder, but I don't know if they have enough experience to beat the Celtics. I don't know if they've been through the ringer enough, because that's how the NBA works. You know it. I know it. It's how the NBA works. Yes, you have to have the talent. You have to have the alpha dog, which they have, in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but you also have to go through the wars long. I mean, look how long the Celtics had a beat at the door before they knocked it down. I don't know if OKC has done that long enough. Now maybe Gilgeous-Alexander's been in the league long enough and he can carry them to where they need to go, and then the rest of the supporting cast can do enough to get them there, to get him the help he needs. But I don't know if they have enough to beat this Celtics team if the Celtics are healthy. And then it's a matter of, okay, do the teams that have the experience have the talent? And then do the teams that have the talent have the experience? It's just the way the league is. I didn't make it up. Cleveland might have the talent. I don't think they have the experience. I don't see them as a legitimate threat in a playoff series. I just don't. Got to beat the Celtics 4 times. The Lakers have the experience. I don't know if they have the talent. I don't know if they have the defense. I think they're a fringe championship contender. I wouldn't even go that far because of their defense. The reason you contemplate it is because you'd think, okay, Luka last year took Kyrie Irving to the finals, had some other bigs around him who helped defensively, but it was him and Irving. Could James and Luka do the same thing? I don't know. What about Jimmy Butler in Golden State? That's interesting. You got Draymond. You got Steph. You've got the infrastructure that is the Warriors. And then you throw in Jimmy Butler. You know, a bona fide, proven playoff performer, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what he's going to do. Warrior culture. Is that a thing that's coming? Is that loading? I mean, whatever. So I'm not sure. I mean, they would obviously have the experience to beat the Celtics. I don't know if they'd have the talent, though. You have to have the talent and the experience. Maybe Denver, if they found a way out of the West. But it might just become a situation like we saw last year with Dallas. The difference is Denver's won a championship. But I don't know if they have the horses to beat the Celtics 4 out of 7 times. It's just a long season, man. It's a long season. And when you've won so much and won as much as the Celtics have won, there's a long way to go to get back to where you really want to be. Because it is a long road. The NBA playoffs are long. Even just the playoffs, that's a 2-month adventure. 2 months of grueling NBA basketball. The most physical brand of basketball in the world. Just to get back to where you hope to be if you're a finals team, a true finals contender. Celtics, for the most part, outside of Drew Holiday, they appear pretty healthy. They got to stay that way. But Jason Tatum, man, just on a different plane, and it's great. It's just funny how things transpire like that, how Tatum doesn't get the love, and how he gets kind of boxed up into and given this reputation because of what? Because of what? I mean, playoff struggles or end of game struggles, which he struggled. I get that. But he's sort of turned that around. He's sort of been better, and he's been more known for getting it done in the late game moments than anything else. What is it? First impressions or everything, though? Can't get over it? I mean, listen. I honestly, as passionate. Now, the Dallas Maverick fan base might be passionate. And that's fine. But I'm not putting them over the Celtics fans or the Boston fan base. I can't even imagine. I just can't envision a scenario where even if the Celtics traded Jason Tatum, where Celtics fans would be this upset like we see in Dallas. I just can't see that scenario. They'd be upset, but this upset? And it's funny to think about those conversations actually took place in Boston. They were going to trade Jason Tatum. All of the patience exhibited is now paying off. This is the best case scenario. This is what we all hoped for. Those of us that said, no, don't trade Tatum or Brown, this is what we hoped for. And now you've got a guy who should probably be in the MVP discussion every year. He isn't. I still am trying, like, a real basketball mind needs to tell me and explain to me exactly why Jason Tatum isn't as good as Luka Doncic. I don't understand it. I just don't get it. 617-779-0985 if you're coming home from the game and want to jump in. I don't understand it. Maybe I just don't know basketball enough. I get that Doncic is a great scorer. I understand that. I understand that he led the Mavericks to the finals last year. I understand that. But what I also understand is that Tatum does so many things well. What am I missing here? Because to me, he does more things well than Luka. Oh, Luka scores more? Scores better? I don't know. I think Tatum does pretty well at that too. 617-779-0985. If you want to jump in on the Celtics, do it now. Because once we get off the Celtics, I'm going to other stuff. We got some other things to discuss here. 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Mark Dondero in for Joe Murray.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe.
anything for me to really, truly be concerned about. Guys, for the most part, are healthy. Yes, they've looked shaky at times. I wish, I like home dominance. But overall, I'm not all that concerned. I do think this spring we will see some competitive basketball. I think that will happen. And maybe it didn't happen last year in part because of other teams' health situations. And this isn't even a knock on the Celtics. I just think this spring we might watch a playoff series where for a minute or two, I might worry that they could lose the series. Certainly if they play OKC in the finals, that could be a toss-up for all I know by that time. But I'm not going to just sit here and panic based on a couple of tough stretches at home. I just don't see it. So, there you go. Sam is on the pike. Hey, Sam. Sam, you there?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, just all this Luka Tatum talk. I think it's already gone. I mean, Luka's probably got the IQ better than any other player in the league, but he's fat, he's slow. There's a reason Dallas wanted to cut bait with him. I don't see the comparison anymore. Tatum already won it. He's on the pace to do it again. I think Luka's starting over, and good luck to him, but I just don't see it anymore.
I appreciate that perspective, but I think if you ask anybody around the NBA, they would tell you that Luka Doncic is a better player than Jason Tatum. Now, I don't know. I haven't taken a straw poll. That's just my sense, having my ear to the ground, talking to people around the NBA and listening to what's out there. It feels like to me that Luka Doncic is more widely regarded as the better player than Jason Tatum, and I just don't understand. A part of me understands. It's like the whole Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes argument. People get intoxicated by certain things. Physical ability, scoring. Luka might be the superior scorer. He yells and swears in people's face when he hits a shot that helps win a playoff game or series. That goes a long way. Patrick Mahomes, we think about what Patrick Mahomes had come up with and what the talk was leading into the Super Bowl last week, that he was actually better than Tom Brady. And the only reason that was the case was because the only reason that was the case was because he runs a little better than Brady ever ran. Think about that, how ridiculous it is. So you could say that Tatum's already beaten Luka Doncic, and now Doncic has been cast off by the Mavericks, and he's in out. Whatever, he's still viewed as a better player around NBA people. That's just my take on Doncic versus Tatum. I don't see it that way because Tatum rebounds, Tatum tries, Tatum defends, Tatum passes, Tatum's IQ is just as good. He might not have quite the mixtape of Luka Doncic in the clutch, game-winning shot type of thing. But, I don't know, he probably does a lot of other things better. He definitely does. So that's why I talk about it, because it is a thing in the NBA. For whatever reason, it's a thing. People think that Jason Tatum is a shakier player than they should. And it's not reality. Maybe it was a first impression, or they whatever. But you get Luka Doncic, who just got traded. And by the way, I would never have traded him. I don't care what type of issues you had with him. I would never have traded him. He dragged you to an NBA Finals. He just took down the Thunder. He took down, the physical specimen that is Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. Got to the Finals and went up against a Celtics team it was their time. Okay? He didn't play great and whatever. It was their time. They had a young team. Maybe their third best player in the finals last year was a rookie in Derek Lively. I mean, what are we doing? That guy, he should have been booed the hell out of the arena tonight, and he was in Dallas, whoever their owner is. This Texas Tubblard. All right. Celtics win 116-103 over the Spurs. 617-779-0985. Some Patriots, some Super Bowl remaining thoughts and analysis coming out of that game. Looking ahead for the Patriots, some Red Sox thoughts as we go forward here. Another hour of the Joe Murray Show. Mark Dondero in for Joe. 98.5 The Sports Hub. We got headlines right now. No commercials. We'll be back. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
He scored! What a blast by Boston! Waiting, holiday dream. Good night!
WBZFM and HD Boston 98.5 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Ooh, that was kind of new. I love it. Celtics beat the Spurs tonight at TD Garden 116-103. The final. Jason Tatum had 32 points, 14 rebounds for Tatum. Good night for him. Kristaps Porzingis added 29 points for the Celtics. Boston and the rest of the NBA will now pause for the All-Star break. The All-Star game will be Sunday night from the Bay Area. Celtics, their next game will be next Thursday night in Philadelphia against the 76ers. Workouts are underway from the fort as the Red Sox pitchers and catchers were on the field today for their first session as a team. Craig Breslow spoke with the media, and when asked if he thought that the Boston Red Sox were a playoff team as currently constituted, he responded with, quote, "I do," close quote. Elsewhere in Major League Baseball, former Red Sox pitcher Nick Pivetta inked a deal with the San Diego Padres. Former Patriots assistant coach Matt Patricia is back in the news after he was hired by Ohio State to be their defensive coordinator. And they are after 2 periods in the second intermission in Montreal at the Four Nations tournament. Canada currently up on Sweden by a score of 3-1. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Mark Dondero for Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's home for sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
A little bit here. Super Bowl's over. Football is over. Sad time of year for me. Love football. I thought the whole lead up to the Super Bowl and the chatter specifically centered around Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady was ridiculous. I thought it was ridiculous. Mahomes, let's just put it this way. So the narrative has changed significantly since Sunday. Patrick Mahomes goes out, gets murdered in the Super Bowl. His team gets smoked. And now all of a sudden he is not close to Tom Brady. You can't talk about that you can't have that conversation again. He has to win. I heard one guy say he now has to win 10 rings to get ahead of Tom Brady, which is stupid. But let me ask you, this is how ridiculous it becomes. If let's just say, because we saw the Patriots do something very similar. They didn't lose in the Super Bowl, but in 2006, 2007, that year, 06 going into 07, they lost a heartbreaker. They were up 18 points in Indy. Indy comes back. They beat them. Next year, they load up, and you remember what happens in 2007. Let's just say that next year, so we're all out on Patrick Mahomes approximating Tom Brady. That can't happen. Not until he wins at least 2 more Super Bowls. Well, let's just say next year the Chiefs load up. Say they sign let's say they sign T. Higgins. Let's say they get lucky, hit on a couple draft picks, a couple linemen, resurgent defense, and they go undefeated. Probably not going to happen. Let's just say they go undefeated. And they go to the Super Bowl next year, undefeated. What's that narrative going to be? All of a sudden, is that Brady watch back on? I mean, relax, dude. relax. Patrick Mahomes, I don't even care that he got smoked in the Super Bowl. I don't care. He should never have been, that discussion should never even have been happening. 4 versus 7 isn't enough. He has none of the records. And just because he might run a little faster or scramble a little bit better, to put him because of that over Tom F. Brady is asinine. What are you talking about? You just can't even have that conversation, yet we had to force it. So I'm done with that. I'm glad the Chiefs got killed. I wanted them to get killed. It was a boring game, but at least it went the way I was hoping it would go. Yeah. I'm competitive about the Patriots dynasty. Sorry. I didn't want to see the Chiefs make a three-peat. I didn't even like them, winning back-to-back championships. I liked the Patriots being the last team that had done that. So I was rooting against them. Too bad. I don't give a crap. Greatness, I don't care. I was rooting against it. And by the way, this Philadelphia Eagles team, are they going to be the next dynasty? I'm guessing no. Now, I know they've been to 3 Super Bowls, but it's really hard to continue to do that when you don't have the elite quarterback and you have to surround that guy with all kinds of talent. It's hard to keep all those pieces around. And now, look, they may prove me wrong. They're going to bring back basically everyone next year, as far as I know. They may prove me wrong. And I know a trendy topic of conversation around here has been, well, now that the Eagles have won the Super Bowl, how should the Patriots build their team? I don't think you build it like the Eagles do right now. You have to do it in a different way. I don't think defensive lineman is the position you go for when you don't have anything else to speak of on the roster. I don't. I thought it was interesting. Dante Scarnecchia told Chris Price of the Boston Globe that the Patriots shouldn't draft an offensive tackle. I was surprised to hear that. And I don't agree necessarily, just because I feel like defensive line is one of the positions I would fill later on in the process. That's how I build the team. So I don't disagree with Dante Scarnecchia about the touchdown maker, but I would go offensive line. I would start offensive line, think about a receiver, mainly because that's a position you haven't had success drafting. Then later, you go line. I feel like you need the other things in place first. Unless you're close. The Patriots aren't close. If you're close, that defensive lineman could be the thing that puts you over the top. Once you're there, Von Miller can put you over the top if you're, the 2015 Broncos. Aaron Donald can put you over the top. Now, I understand that the Rams, they had Aaron Donald, and they waited it out, and then at the end of his career, essentially, is when they won the Super Bowl, and he was a huge piece of that. So I don't hate it. I'm not going to hate it if the Patriots take Abdul Carter. In fact, part of me wants them to take Mason Graham out of Michigan. What I don't want to have happen, though, is for one of those guys to turn into Myles Garrett or, Micah Parsons and just waste away. Even a guy like J.J. Watt, I know he went to the playoffs, But I don't want my star defensive end, Khalil Mack, wasting away on the Bears or whatever team he was on. I don't even remember what team. Was it the Raiders?
I think he was on the Bears and then the Raiders.
Where did he start? The Bears? Okay. Whatever team he started on, they weren't making playoff games. So I don't want that. And that's what I'm worried about. You can have that stud, but if you don't have a team around him that can put him in a position to close out these important playoff games, I'd rather go elsewhere and get something else. Because the Patriots, they could find a way back quickly, especially if Drake May's legit, and we all think he is. Can find a way back. I mean, look at the Commanders. Crying out loud, they're back. They were in the championship game this year. Nick Wright has them atop his tiers on Fox. Not atop, but in the top 1/4 of the league. That could be the Patriots. You have to draft well, though. I mean, if you look at what the Philadelphia Eagles have done in their last 3 drafts, it's stuff of dreams. I mean, it's like what the Patriots did in 2001 when they got Richard Seymour and Matt Light. That's basically what the Eagles have done the last 3 years. That type of draft. Can the Patriots fill that? Can they do that this year? Can they figure out a way to do that this year? Can they start that process this year? They got a long way to go. But I love that. I mean, I want the Patriots to get picked in every category, be at the bottom of the league, according to all the pundits. The Super Bowl, while boring, I guess I have to address this. Because before the game, and I still stand by it, I said that Andy Reid was a better coach than Bill Belichick. And I have to address that next, based on how that game went and how Reid performed specifically. 617-779-0985 if you want to jump in. I'm Mark Dondero, 98.5 The Sports Hub. In for Joe Murray.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Sports, Valentine's Day on the mind, the Masters, and baseball moonshots, home run moonshots. I'll go on YouTube and I'll look up moonshots. I love watching those. Just absolute tank jobs. We had some good ones this year. I'm not sure if I love this Four Nations tournament. Big international hockey guy. I just can't get a grasp on the magnitude of the event. But I'll watch USA. I'll root for USA just because I enjoy international hockey. Currently, Canada up on Sweden. The Swedes, their uniforms are nasty. I love those uniforms. But so listen, I made a decision after the AFC Championship game that Andy Reid is a better all-time coach than Bill Belichick. People didn't like it. I don't like it, but I made that decision. Then the Super Bowl happened, but I still stand by that decision. And the reason is, and I just feel like I need to explain myself, I just put so much more weight, more than anything else, on what Andy Reid has accomplished without Patrick Mahomes versus what Bill Belichick accomplished without Tom Brady. That's the reality. I just think it's so important, if you're judging the greatest of all time, to look at somebody other than their guy, their top dude. Now, I understand Bill Belichick, he's got a better resume, obviously. He's got twice the amount of championships. But it feels to me like Andy Reid, his floor just feels a lot higher. And he's made his mistakes. He's had his bad days, bad moments, clock management. But he has done it with multiple quarterbacks. Bill Belichick had other quarterbacks. Because some of the things people were arguing to me had to do with Belichick versus Reid, and Reid having other top number one quarterbacks. Alex Smith, number one draft pick. Michael Vick, number one draft pick. That's fine. But Bill Belichick also had, forget about Mac Jones, who was the number 15 overall pick. He had a year of Cam Newton, 7-9, Newton number one overall pick. He had Drew Bledsoe for, what was that? 20-something games? 18 games? He went 5-13 with Drew Bledsoe, number one overall pick. So I'm just, again, based on what they accomplished without their dude, I think Andy Reid's the better coach all time. Now, does that make him the GOAT? I think the GOAT's a different conversation, and we can get into semantics if you want to. I don't think it makes him the GOAT. I think Bill Belichick earned the best resume in the history of the NFL. Can't take that away from him. It's not his fault that Brady was so great and played for so long. He drafted the guy. He stuck with the guy. It's just that when he was not with Tom Brady, and the sample size is big enough, he just didn't produce. Simple as that. And it ended as bad as it could end, pretty much. Fired, top overall pick. The cupboard is bare. I just think Andy Reid, and it's not like Andy Reid hasn't been able to sustain success. He has. I just put more weight on what he's done without the top quarterback. I don't care when they were drafted. I'm saying without the guy that has the elite talent that we all know about. The winner. The ultimate winner. I'm not even sure how good Patrick Mahomes would be without Andy Reid. Obviously, he'd be awesome. How awesome. I'll tell you what. I don't think we'd be talking about Patrick Mahomes approximating Tom Brady or rivaling Tom Brady if he was with anybody other than Andy Reid. That I'll say confidently. So, that's where I am on the Andy Reid, Bill Belichick thing. I just feel like based on what they did without their guy, it's big difference there. Now, as far as I'm just going to wrap up one more Super Bowl thought here. The tight end conversation with Gronk and Kelsey. Obviously, Kelsey was embarrassing in the game. We see the things going viral of the bad effort and not trying to move around when Mahomes was scrambling, and that was a joke. But here's what I don't want to hear. I never want to hear somebody, and this applies to people as we go forward too, and we'll see what happens with Travis Kelce's career if he retires or what. But I never want to hear somebody try to argue that Travis Kelce is the best tight end ever, while in the same breath arguing that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback ever. You cannot have both. Why? Because Kelce is just physically not as good of a tight end as Rob Gronkowski. I don't even know if that's debatable. Blocking, all the things that encompass being a tight end, Travis Kelce's not as good as Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski is the best tight end I've ever seen. But the reason that Kelce will get the nod is because of the longevity and the numbers and the statistics and the yards and all those measurables. Which is why, if that's how you're going to play it with the tight ends, you cannot then say, well, Kelsey's the greatest of all time because he's got all the records and he has more Super Bowls or whatever it is. He doesn't have more, so he has less Super Bowls. But he was more productive as a pass catcher. He's got more touchdowns, more yards, more playoff, whatever. And then try to tell me that Patrick Mahomes, who doesn't have as many yards as Tom Brady, never will, doesn't have as many touchdowns, doesn't have as many Super Bowls, statistically hasn't got him in anything, really. You can't then try to tell me that Mahomes is better than Brady just after telling me that Rob Gronkowski isn't as good as Travis Kelce. It's the same argument you're making in different ways. You can't do that. It's either Brady Kelce or Mahomes Gronk. Because Mahomes, to the Mahomes people, he's the best quarterback you've ever seen. So what? He doesn't have all the records or the championships or the head-to-head. He's the best quarterback you've ever seen. He runs, he scrambles. So you can say that. You can make that declaration. But Kelce, all of a sudden, you're going to make that same declaration just because he's got less rings but more records and he's got more yards in the playoffs? No. Can't have it both ways. You're a hypocrite if you try to do that. You cannot have it both ways. So I don't want to hear it. Don't come to me with that type of argument or narrative. It's not going to fly. Can't do it. It's either Brady, Kelce, or Mahomes and Gronkowski because they're the best you've ever seen. And I don't even think the Brady Kelce thing is apples to apples because Tom Brady, he won just as much as Pat Mahomes, more than Pat Mahomes in an era that was roughly the same. Jason is in Derry. Hey, Jason, what's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing? How come Kelce didn't play in the game the other day?
Well, I mean, come on, he did. He was out there. I watched
the whole game.
I honestly don't know what was going on.
I didn't notice it. Did he have the same number on?
Yeah, I don't know what was.
Jersey?
It's wild, honestly, that he did that because some of the we're seeing the clips and the effort. What could go into playing that way? And he comes out and he apologizes because he wasn't a leader. He didn't get his guys up. He wasn't doing what he needed to do to keep spirits up when they got down. He quit. That's as bad as you could ever see. I have no idea.
I think another thing, too, nobody the last couple of weeks has brought up that this behemoth, like, when at Reid, was it last year or 2 years ago, in the playoffs on the sideline, and, like, chest bumped him, whatever? That was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous, and thanks for the call, Jason. That was stupid, but it ended up in a win. So they ended up winning the game. That's why everybody forgot about it.
This is breaking sports news
Oh, we got it.
Instant oil change on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Let's go. Breaking news here on the Sports Hub. Hit me with it, Scaz.
Yes, some breaking Red Sox news. This from Chandler Rome and Chris Cotillo also confirming free agent third baseman Alex Bregman has agreed to a deal with your Boston Red Sox.
Breaking news on the Sports Hub. I love it. I mean,
John Heyman with the details.
do we have years?
3 years, $120 million with 2 opt-outs.
Okay, so that is a big deal. Breaking news on the Sports Hub, Scaz. Good man. We got to go to break. Let's get a headlines. We'll come back. We'll talk and react in live, real time to Alex Bregman to the Boston Red Sox. I'm glad because I was going to Red Sox next. I was going to crush them like I did earlier, and I'm glad I didn't spend a half an hour crushing them only for this to drop. Alex Bregman, right-handed bat, coming to the Boston Red Sox. We'll talk about it on the Joe Murray Show. Headlines, we're back here. Mark Dondero in for Joe.
Essential Sports Hub headlines presented by Celtics.
an actual professional infielder. You know, he can field a ground ball, alligator that puppy. He can actually play the infield, versatile, champion, and he's a right-handed bat. Okay, I love it. That's number one. How about this from Bob Nightingale? So the Red Sox reportedly gave him 3 years, $120 million. Alex Bregman at Bob Nightingale, at B Nightingale. Alex Bregman turned down 6 years, a 6-year deal for over $170 million to sign with the Red Sox. Now, he doesn't specify who offered that deal. Alex Bregman wanted to be in Boston. Now, I don't know who did that. He probably heard Milliken's rant. Felt the passion and was like, you know what, damn it, forget everything else. I'm going to the Red Sox. I mean, that's my guess. There might have been other factors. Alex Cora, Carabas. You know, I like to think, maybe I'm ill-advised. I'd like to think part of what attracted Alex Bregman is the passionate fan base that is the Red Sox and Red Sox Nation. You know, once upon a time, that would have been a real draw. I don't know. But this changes things. Okay? Now, you have the trade for Garrett Crochet. You have the acquisition of Alex Bregman, 3 years, $120 million. The Red Sox finally going above 1 year and getting a guy that, you know, obviously not in his prime, but still highly capable and exactly what they need. Based on the player and the years and the money and the action, that might be enough to edge that ball over the goal line. We're probably going to have to go to replay. We're probably going to have to see the nose of the football cross that goal line. But that could be enough for me to say, hey, they're actually trying to win again. You know, like that might be enough. It's, you know, not overwhelming, but they might actually be trying to win again. Because they went out and got an ace, liked it, loved it, really liked it, whatever. Now they go get Bregman. Now, I'm more excited for these prospects who are going to come up and be a part of the mix here. That makes me more excited. You got a real right-handed bat. You got a real ace. You hopefully improved, you would think, your defense exponentially. And, by the way, fingers and toes crossed, I mean, if Trevor Story could ever stay healthy, damn, you might have an infield. You might be able to turn some double plays. You might have a solid middle foundation of your team. I don't know. I mean, I'll leave it up to you. For me, this changes things, and it's very important because, and people laughed at me. Paul Perillo laughs at me, whatever. The culture of the Boston Red Sox has been a problem. This changes it a little bit. How much? We'll have to wait and see. How much will be up to you. But for me, it changes it. And now it's like, hey, they might actually be trying to win. I might let myself go there. I might. Because Bregman is news. Right-handed bat, professional infielder. You went and got an ace. You have a roster that I like. Now you got the pieces around the roster that could add to what you already have. And most importantly, maybe most importantly, even more important than the player on the field, a move like this might inject the amount of juice that you needed into this clubhouse to get everybody, Alex Cora included, back to a place where the team believes that ownership and everybody up at the front office level is all in to win, or is at least in to win. And that has been, make no mistake, that has been a problem. It's not just been an issue with the fans. Rafael Devers, Alex Cora, he's made Devers last year at spring training. We know what we need. Cora, Mopey, he's had his moments where he's made comments. They all have felt it. Does this, again, is it the Red Sox from 2003? No. Is it the Red Sox from Dave Dombrowski? No. But does this take it over the goal line enough where now the team, the fans, the culture shifts where you feel like, hey, we're up and running again, Boston Red Sox. Ownership, front office, president, everybody is in it to win. Can the Bregman deal be that? Can it do that? Let's hear from you.
Can I just give you one thing quickly? Yeah. Jeff Passan with a little more on the numbers here.
Yeah.
So Bregman's 3-year, $120 million deal with Boston includes deferred money. The $40 million salary per year is $10 million more per year than other teams were offering. The Sox land the best free agent left on the market. He gives credit to Chandler Rome, but isn't that exactly what we've been asking for? More money, shorter term. They finally just paid up, said, we're going to offer you $10 million more per year, and you're going to come here. This is what the Boston Red Sox should be doing.
That's exactly right. And this is what we've been asking for. And this is why, and it's like, I'm not saying his production doesn't matter. Obviously, I want him to come here. I want him to succeed. You want it to work out. You don't want it to be Carl Crawford. But they were starving for a move, even if you overpaid, even if it doesn't work out. This is what we needed to read. The $40 million salary is $10 million plus more a year than others were offering. They overpaid. The Boston Red Sox overpaid for a pro, for a guy that actually can play the game. Overpaid. What a day. I honestly didn't think this would happen. They overpaid. They didn't just spend. Oh, what a great thing to read this late at night. And again, this is not a small thing. The change that was necessary from a culture perspective and how the team viewed the ownership and the leadership matters. This might be what puts them over the edge on top of what they did with Garrett Crochet and, Aroldis Chapman, whatever you want to say about something like that. This might be, it might be enough. It might be enough. Overpay. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to your calls before we have to wrap. Alex Bregman, Red Sox overpay. Get Alex Bregman. He's now a member of the baseball team in Boston. 617-779-0985. Mark Dondero in for Joe Murray.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
Love his voice. Let me hear some Craig Breslow. Come on. Urgency. I love it. Can be as hard of a word to define as you want. Just bring it on. I love it. Red Sox back in the mix. Playoff team. Yep. Back in the mix. Let's go to Dermott in Topsfield. What's up, man?
Hey, Mark. How are you doing?
How you doing?
Very good. I'm from Topsfield, but I got to tell you, I'm originally from Dublin, Ireland, and I don't know if you're a poet or a playwright, but oh boy, I love listening to you, and I haven't heard you before. So my congratulations.
I need to get to Ireland. I want to golf there. How are you?
I'm doing great. Quick one on the Red Sox. Last game I was at a few years ago, one-game playoff against the Yankees, and the place was bouncing, and I haven't seen that since. So I can feel your energy there. I'm with you. Now we can come back. Okay?
Agreed.
Can I make a quick comment on what you said about the Patriots?
Yes, please.
I think you're way off. Excuse me, Mark, but you're way off.
Okay.
Belichick came to a losing franchise. Parcells had done his job, but it was a losing franchise. When you've gone to 9 Super Bowls and you've won 6 of them, I'm sorry, Andy Reid, but first of all, he's not even close. But secondly, I have never watched a game where I've seen a coach with the look of puzzlement on his face for the entire game. And I've lived here for 40 years.
I'm going to let you go on that. I appreciate the call, Dermott. I mean, fine, fair, but it was Tom Brady who came in. Belichick was 0-2. Brady came in. I'm not saying Belichick gets no credit, but Andy Reid's just done more without the top guy. That's all I'm saying. Brian, back to the Red Sox here in Lowell. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for taking the call, man.
Yep.
I'd say I'm nervously optimistic about this deal. And I say that because I was under the impression the plan for this year was going to be to see what you have in these big 3 prospects, Campbell, Anthony, and Meyer. And then if 1 or 2 of those guys hits, you go out next year and you sign Vlad Guerrero Jr. It's going to be an unrestricted free agent. And I think this is probably going to be their big move now for the next 2 or 3 years. And if they don't go out and get a guy like him because they say, hey, we spent $40 million on our right-handed bat last year, if it takes them out of the running, then I don't like it. But if this is the first in a series of moves in the next couple of years where they spend, then I'm all for it.
Okay, I think Brian just hit it right at the end there. You had to make this move first. And I understand what you're saying and what could be in the future and what could happen and what they might or might not do. You had to make this move first. Okay, I think more important than any production on the field, and we'll see what the prospects do. That's nice. I'm looking forward to it. More importantly, you had to change the energy associated with the team. I think, honestly, that was the most important thing. It doesn't even really matter if Bregman works out. Now, that's not true. It does matter. But in the immediate here and now and going into spring training and the regular season, you want the team to feel like ownership is back. John Henry smoking that stogie tonight. He's back. Hopefully. I think that's the energy that you needed to bring in. And that's what I'm hoping this does. And then, hey, if Bregman works out, and he's assaulting the Green Monster with doubles and all these things off the right-handed bat, let's go.